Yeah, your record was brutal yesterday, friend.
Yeah, not a good week.
I had a very good week.
Are you going to brag about that today, or are
Not
you
today.
going to
Not
talk
today.
about- Oh, okay. I was just wondering because we're live right now.
No, if I hit both Monday night games, then I'll be bragging tomorrow.
You're like Packer and Bear fans. They only pop in when they win.
No. I popped in when we lost.
Yeah, like once.
Early in the morning for me. So I thought you guys wake up so darn early.
Yep. I hear the excuses, but you're more than welcome to be here when you win because we actually take our losses. And I'm going to take it. We're going to take it today. We deserve to take it. Lions, we're eating crow today.
Victory Monday, baby. Victory Monday.
Not on this show, it isn't.
Rap.
Yeah. Here we are. It's not Victory Monday for us. No. Welcome one, welcome all, ladies and gentlemen. This is Football Talk with Russell Wayne, and I got my Friday background in there. I can't even find it. I'm all out of sorts today, but we are broadcasting live into the Detroit Lions news, and we're broadcasting live into Mike the Bear fan. So this is kind of a victory celebration too, even though we are Lions fans on this show, but we did play the Bears this week. And we do have Ken Doby in the back that we're going to be talking to today. We're broadcasting live into the Detroit Lions villain squad. Just crossed over 12,000 villains. Got a lot of Lions fans out there, a lot of mad Lions fans that are out there. And today we are going to talk about it. And as I'm going to bring on some of my cohorts right here today, main event Mike, brother, how are you doing? And Ken Doby. I wish I could bring you on one at a time, but it's just kind of like it's me and then all three of us. It just has to be like that.
I'm here, Russ. That's all that matters.
Hold me, Mike. Hold me. What happened to all the kneecaps? I'm hurting today. I have a whole book of excuses. Come straight from the Jay Cutler book of excuses. But congratulations on your victory, Ken Doby. I'm going to let you talk about it first, man. I mean, you're here. We kind of predicted this, that he was going to come on here and be on here today and just like pop on. Like, didn't even have to call him, didn't have to save that. Like, I knew that he was going to come in here, but you deserve it. Ken, you have the floor, my brother.
Man, you know it's early for me, right? My normal wake-up time is about an hour. So, yeah.
Grab some coffee, talk some shit. You deserve it.
Hey, coffee's right here, brother. With the other team that won big this week, right? Go Army, beat Navy. CIC trophy coming home to Army. But, yeah, you know, I mean, look, if you guys remember at the beginning of the season, I said this Bears team was a team that you don't want to play towards the end. And that's starting to come to fruition. We saw with you guys a couple weeks ago. Remember, we talked about it. Bears let their foot off the throat. They did not do that this time. I said last couple weeks ago that the Lions have been exposed defensively, specifically. That has not changed. You then lost to Green Bay. You should have lost to NOLA, but you pulled it out. So good on you for that, making the plays when they mattered. And then this week, it happened again. So now I'm looking at a Lions team that's got 4 games left, and the biggest thing you got going for you right now is you have 2 games against Minnesota as far as keeping the division. Right now, I mean, look at the game. It went kind of the way I thought. Actually, it went better than I thought. I did pick the Bears to win yesterday, but by a much smaller margin than what they actually won by. So, good game. Great NFC North football. But this is kind of what we knew would happen at this point of the season.
So you think that was just a butt whooping?
They would get.
So you think it was a butt whooping because it was over? Okay. I just wanted to get that out there because
it was a very good game. Look at the Lions did threaten, and then the Bears pulled back away. That Bears defense yesterday, fellas, you can see the difference between week 1 Bears defense and yesterday. You can even see the difference between a few weeks ago and yesterday in that Bears defense. So it wasn't a butt whipping. I thought it'd be a much closer game score-wise than it was, right? It was still a very close game. We won by a little bit of bigger margin than I originally predicted. But we knew this was what was going to happen at the end of the year with this Bears team, that it would progress, it would get better, and it's going to be this Bears team is a team that can wreck your playoff dreams, coming down the stretch. So Green Bay, week 18, they're going to be having playoff aspirations. This is a team that can wreck it, kind of like how you guys wrecked it for them last year.
Good. We're expecting you to do that. We need you to do that. What do you think about the game, Mike? What are your first initial thoughts now that you've had about 24 hours, 18 hours to really process this?
I think Ken Dobie's the only guy in Florida wearing a sweater, first of all. Second of all, great game, good game to Chicago Bears. I think Justin Fields had one of his best games as a thrower of the football. He put some of those throws right on the money. The blocking by the Chicago Bears was superb. The end-around run by DJ Moore, everyone saw it coming. Stevie Wonder saw it coming, but we couldn't stop it because they blocked it so well. It was 4-on-3. We couldn't get over there fast enough. He's fast, and he was limping around all game, and he was still fast. So we just got our butts whipped. I know you and I talked this morning in our pre-production meeting, Russ, and you said, they didn't kick our ass, we beat ourselves. I got to disagree with you. The Bears kicked our ass. The Bears, along with the referees, kicked our ass.
Wait a minute. I haven't even spoke yet, and you're already putting words in my mouth.
I'm just quoting you from earlier.
No. I can quote my own damn self right here. What's main event Mike's take on this game and not all fluffed up with the shit that Russell Wayne said earlier?
Okay.
What's main event
all right.
Mike's
main event Mike's take on this. Just like every NFL game in the world, it comes down to quarterback play, and our quarterback stunk. Jared Goff, 20 of 35. Oof. For 161 yards, 2 interceptions and a tutty. His passer rating, 54.6, his lowest of the year. That's my take on this game. Jared Goff stunk. He short-armed so many throws. Amon-Ra St. Brown, our best wide receiver, 9 targets. He had 3 catches on 9 targets. He dropped 3 balls. Amon-Ra never drops balls. 3 balls in one game, that's a fluke. But if you go back and look at them, they were terrible throws. They hit his hands, but they were terrible. Jared Goff looked like ass yesterday, and that's the tale of the game. Lions, 3 turnovers. The Bears took care of the ball, no turnovers. That's the story of this game.
All right, then. So I believe that you have to, when I look at this game, that you have to put more onto the Lions on offensive side of the ball, and that includes you, future head coach Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson needs to be held accountable for this 13-point performances where you were 1 for 5. Not only did you not do well on third down, but you also went to fourth down and you failed there too. So Ben Johnson needs to be held accountable. Jared Goff needs to be held accountable for turning the damn ball over. Amon-Ra St. Brown needs to be held accountable, but I am not going to put as much of this game on the defense as everything else. Because outside of that opening drive, I mean, I got to mute. Okay, Ken, you're bothering me. You're bothering me.
First off, Mike, it's 48 degrees and it's a hockey sweater. People wear them all year. Secondly, Russell, you're wrong. It's not because Goff was just that terrible. Your offensive problems wasn't because your offensive coordinator made bad play calls per se. Your problem yesterday was this, and I know Mike's got the numbers. And
oh my gosh, Ken! All right, gosh, my problem. I'm gonna mute you right there because you, first of all, you did this over top of my entire take, and I can't do that while you're doing right that. I'm going to finish my take, and I'm going to give you my opinion before you tell me that I'm wrong. Right there. Ben Johnson needs to have some form of accountability when it comes to this thing, and you cannot beat yourself. You had 8 penalties. 8 penalties. You turned the ball over 3 times. And I mean, I know that you're going to tell me how great that the Chicago Bears are here in a minute, but the Lions lost this game more than the Bears won this game, in my opinion. And that's where I'm going to come into. Wait a minute. Wait. No, wait. I can't see anything right here.
No, that was it. The last one. That's it. Penalties and turnovers
killed the Lions again. That's where I am. All right, now I got Ken back in. Now, Ken, go ahead. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm in a mood today. I get
it. You're in a mood. You lost a game you should have won, being a high caliber playoff team that's supposed to win the division. But main event, Mike, what were your rushing totals yesterday? Was it 65 and 65?
66 and 66 for each back.
That's big part of your problem one. Your running game never got on track. Jahmyr Gibbs, most of those numbers were in the first quarter when he bust out those 2 really beautiful runs. After that, your running game was almost non-existent. Second problem is the Bears are getting pressure on Goff. Those drop balls, the reason they were bad is because he had to get rid of it because your offensive line is what failed you, and the Bears got pressure. That interior line that, Bears fans are going, why are we drafting interior? Now when Dexter Gervin's getting through and he's getting a sack, and of course Montez Sweat addition is a big impact as well. But that front four of the Bears created a lot of those hurried throws, drop balls because the ball wasn't where it should have been. So that's where your problem came yesterday. Your running game got basically stomped out after the first quarter, and then the quarterback pressure was so intense on Goff, plus the fact that he doesn't throw well in cold weather. That's where your issues were. Play calls were probably good play calls. Problem is the defensive line hit home. It's not that the Bears were great, but no, you guys lost that game because of what the Bears did more than what your offensive coordinator, who's been phenomenal all year, did or did not do. They just got pressure.
All right, so for a 3-minute take, you say that the interior offensive line played bad. Mike, what do you think about it?
Well, I think I have to disagree with Ken's point. We averaged over 6 yards a carry. Both backs averaged over 6 yards a carry. Okay.
First quarter.
That's not true. That's not true. We were consistently running the ball successfully all the way up and down the field. But I have to agree with you that your defensive line, I mean, the Bears generated 4 sacks. I mean, they were last in the league last year. The defense has improved. Gervin Dexter's gotten 1 sack in 14 weeks. I love that you're tooting his horn about it. But, but to your point, kudos to the Bears. Their defense played tough, and they were getting pressure on Goff for sure. Goes back to my point, Goff played like ass. There were a couple of those sacks where he just stood in the pocket holding the ball too long. And when he did throw, he short-armed the throws. If you look up and down the box score, you'll see 2 of 9 on targets, 2 of 8, 3 of 7. Ridiculous low percentage completion percentage, and a passer rating of 54.6. I mean, those are early Jordan Love numbers there, 54.6. That's his worst of the year. That's the story here, guys. Come on.
Yeah, because
Yeah, I mean, turnovers.
Quarterback play.
It can't be because the defense played well. It can't be that most of your rushing yards came in the first quarter. And yeah, you may have averaged whatever number you threw out there, 6 yards, but look at the runs post that initial drive and the first quarter. You didn't run the entire game. You ran in the first quarter. And then
Ken,
we got behind. You have to throw the ball then.
Ken, the thing is, it's like you take things so personally, because when we say penalties and turnovers killed the line, well, of course, 8 penalties or whatever they had kills the Lions, but you guys got the turnovers. It's not like we're saying, oh, they didn't get the turnovers. It's like you have to protect the football. And that is beating yourself when you have 8 penalties and you lose the turnover battle. And then let's put this into perspective too. One of the turnovers was Graham Glasgow fumbling the snap and giving you guys a 7-yard field. Now, if you want to blame the Lions defense for giving up a 7-yard touchdown run to Justin Fields, that's fine. That's fine. Everybody, the fire Aaron Glenn, the shots are off. Everybody in Lions Nation wants Aaron Glenn out of here for the 9-4, season that they have up into this point. This is a season, an NFL season for every single team. All the teams that are hot right now, in 3 or 4 weeks, they're going to start running into problems again. Because you know what? Offensive and defensive coordinators are smart. And they figure out 2 or 3 times during the year. And it's whoever is going to get hot over the next 2-3 weeks. Whoever starts getting hot, with 2-3 games left, those are the teams that are going to go far in the playoffs. We're not there yet. We're not in the final push yet. So they got to figure it out. They got a couple of weeks to figure it out, and they got a couple of teams that they're going to play, because I don't think Minnesota's that good. I think they got a couple of teams that they can get right before the playoffs start. But, yeah, I think that Baltimore, when that game hit and they blew us out, that kind of made somewhat of a blueprint with how to stop this offense. But this offense is how Lions are going to win games. It ain't going to be the defense. This offense has to show out. You can't put up a 13-burger, Ben Johnson, future head coach Ben Johnson. I don't care how that happens. A draw play on 4th and 1. I mean, go for it, man. Just square up, pound the freaking rock on that play. I have a little bit of axe to grind right there against Ben. I got a little. Everybody's been just talking so good about Ben, and Ben deserves a little bit of criticism. A little bit of criticism for this game, in my opinion.
Hey, Russ, in my opinion, wasn't one of your better offensive linemen hurt yesterday?
The best offensive lineman, yes, Frank Ragnow, the one that wouldn't have fumbled the ball on the freaking 7-yard line. Yes, the one that gave you a 7-yard field. Yes.
That's part of your problem, because the Bears defensive front, a team that at the beginning of the season couldn't even tell you where the quarterback was, let alone get pressure, was all over your backfield yesterday. That's why your run game from the second quarter on was virtually non-existent. That's where your problem was yesterday, offensively, more than anything, because he made some good little run plays. Ben Johnson makes some calls. We're going to run it that normally gets you 4 to 5. That yesterday we're getting you line of scrimmage or -2. So that's where your problem was.
And they were getting, to your point, they were getting stuffed. For the most of the part, it's like the Lions did have some nice long runs. They had nice long runs, but for the most part, they were stuffing that first and second down. Putting them in more in 3rd and 7s and stuff. And the Lions weren't getting those 3rd and 7s. And then we're going into the 4th and shorts, and they weren't getting those. If the Lions are 1-4 or 1-5 on 4th down, they're probably going to lose a game.
That's just in your O-line yesterday. That's where your failure point was more than anything. It started at the O-line and then matriculated back into, like that word, matriculated. Then it went back into Goff's play. Him having to hurry throws. Putting the ball not where he wanted it, not when a receiver was ready, throwing that timing off. That's where your problem offensively was yesterday. The play calling was probably okay. The problem was the line didn't do its job in order for that play call to come to fruition.
This is the one that I was looking for earlier. God, I'm all out of sorts today.
Look,
right here.
We're not that good.
And this is kind of the point. This is the point that, like, we've been talking about for the last 10 minutes right here. Because this is a question that's going to echo, and you're really never going to get an answer to this. Was it the Lions that were that good? Or was it the Bears? Or is the Bears that good? Or the Lions that bad? All that. I think the Bears are getting better.
Yeah.
Just like we had thought by the end of the year that they're going to ascend. They're going to start, the younger players are going to start getting it. But the same thing's going to happen with the Lions here too. Our players are young too. You go through there. Aiden Hutchinson took this thing pretty hard. Like, I'm going to put this post out here on the Villain Squad a little bit later. But let's talk about that key 4th down and 13 exchange that went. I mean, this 5 minutes of the game was the whole game. Really. Yeah. You guys score a touchdown. We fumble the ball on the snap on the very next possession. It was really a snowball thing. It was a great game up until that point. But this 4th down, Aiden Hutchinson jumps off sides, give the Chicago Bears a free play, and where they throw a bomb to DJ Moore. Now, I am going to complain about the refs right here, but I'm not going to blame the game on that. So I'm going to put a precursor in here before I even start. I am going to blame the refs. I am going to criticize the refs on this, because if you're going to call that a pass, then that was an intentional grounding. That's what Dan Campbell was arguing with on the sideline with the referee from that point all the way past the touchdown into the fumble where that all snowballed. Now, it was a bad call. It was a bad call. I think that you could acknowledge that they should have done something right. That it was either an intentional grounding or it was a sack, because you can't have both at that point. But you need to have your ducks in a row, Dan Campbell, right there. You cannot lose your mind in those key moments right there, because the call didn't go your way. Screw those calls. You got to get your head in the game. That was a 13-point swing because you couldn't get your head in the game. You got outcoached in the game because of that moment, that one moment. And that's that whole game rode on that 4-play exchange. Right.
They weren't going to go. They were not going to go for it on 4th down. They were trying to draw the Lions off to get a closer field goal. 100%, I believe that. And then when Aiden jumped off sides, Justin knew he had a free play. At that point, though, Ifeatu Melifonwu dropped, he got burnt on that. He should have been safety help over the top. Instead, for some odd reason, he drifted to the middle of the field instead of being where he was supposed to be. At least you wouldn't have got a touchdown out of that had he held and did his assignment. So
let me ask you guys.
I'm absolutely sick about this game today, Russ. We got shut out in the second half, okay? And in the comments, Bear Down Mike is just letting us have it, boy. And Raj Nish and these Bear fans are letting us have it, and rightly so. Kudos to the Bears. Kudos to the Bears fans. We're eating crow this morning. I'm having a crow omelet for breakfast. So, yeah. But that 4th down, I believe, was huge. But can we talk about the intentional grounding that wasn't called?
That's what we're talking about here.
I'd like to have.
That's what we're at. This is exactly what we're at.
So let me get my take on that. Who cares? I mean, we get every game. I mean, I'm not trying to be flippant when I say that, but every game, every fan base has some call. We can't let some perceived missed call that we then re-diagnose later with instant replay.
No. You don't get to brush this one off like that. You don't get. Go ahead, Ken. Go ahead, finish your take. We got an hour.
Russell, your take was right. You got to move on. You can't sit there if you're Dan Campbell and lose your shit and not call the rest of the game, because this happens in every game in the NFL. For me, the key point takeaway from that scenario is this: Justin Field used to see the progression because he was able to take a oh, I got a free play, and actually capitalize on it. Something that he was not doing last year, the year before. So there's growth there from Justin. All the 15 minutes of, oh, it was a bad call and Dan Campbell, you need to keep your head. Dude, that happens every game. That should be a
No,
given.
it doesn't, Ken. You can't
It
poo-poo
does.
it
Every
away.
game, there's a call.
I've been waiting patiently, but you're rambling.
But the thing is, it doesn't matter. What you're saying right now has nothing to do with the point, because I already precursored. This is not the reason the Lions lost the game. I am not saying that. And you cannot come in here and frame it like that. Like that's what it is. Every place like that. Actually, at this point, I need you to acknowledge that it was a bad call. A bad no call. If you can't, then we can't have this conversation anymore.
I haven't relooked at the call. The call didn't happen. The game moved on. And
no, you looked at the call. My God, they showed it in slow motion 15 times. Oh my God. If you can't look at that call, you can't see that he threw it into it. They called it a pass. They said he was throwing the ball. There was no receiver within 5 yards or within anything of that. That was a missed call. They acknowledged that they missed the call. We're not even debating whether it was a missed call. It was a missed call. If we want to debate a call, let's talk about that Cole Kmet catch that was bobbling all the way through.
Look, missing a call is different than this.
That's a missed call.
Missing a call is different than this. This has to be one thing or the other. If it's an incomplete pass, then it's grounding. If it's a fumble, then it's your ball 7 yards behind us. Okay, there is not. This is not happens in every game. Not like this. It doesn't. It has to be one thing or the other. If you're going to rule it as a fumble, then do so. If it's an incomplete pass, then it's grounding. And they debated for 5 minutes to decide what the call was going to be. That was an incomplete pass. Well, then it's got to be grounding.
Right. And then Dan Campbell made a mistake by keep hashing it and got his but
it also could have been called in the grasp. It could have been a sack before he even attempted his intentional grounding. It could have been a sack, or it could have been a fumble. The only outcome that screwed the Lions is the one they chose. An incomplete pass that wasn't grounding because there was no receiver within a half a mile. Ridiculous. This does not happen every game.
But you gotta keep your cool. That's the point. And we get frustrated here because, like a Bear fan, you're gonna take the win. You're gonna take the call. If we're the Lion fan and that happens to us, and that's Jared Goff throwing the ball, we're gonna be like, yeah, man, whatever. We won, right? That's the way you should be. That's the way a Bear fan should be. You guys should celebrate the win, love the win. You're 5-8 now. You're 5-8, really with a chance to really poo-poo on people's dreams, and maybe have a backwards chance to win out and maybe even make the playoffs and hold the number 1 overall pick. Could you imagine that as a Bear fan? What that would be like?
I told you so, but if you watch the tape, I said the Bears are going to be anywhere.
No, you don't get to do that. You don't. No. You don't get to do it. You can't do that, Ken. No, I'm not going to give you a pass on that because you haven't been. The pass is you coming in here right now. You've been in here twice in the last like however many weeks. And then you're going to come in here and say, I told you so. I don't mind you having a take coming in here, but you can't come in here with I told you so. You can tell me shit. You've been in witness protection with most of these Bear fans.
Because you do a show in the morning before I wake up.
It's my fault. It's all my fault
at the beginning of the year,
but you're here now.
Predictions, Russell.
Ken, are you tired? Are you tired, man? I mean, you must have really given up on some sleep today to come in here today.
I go to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow, that you chose a win to come in here and interrupt your sleep schedule to come in on my show. I am honored that you chose a victory right after you beat my team to choose and come in and tell me I told you so. You told me you didn't tell me anything. I haven't heard from you.
Really? You heard from me when you guys beat us a couple weeks ago. I did come on that morning.
He was here. He was on that morning. Sure was.
The entire draft, I was with you. For an entire preseason, I've been with you.
For the entire draft season, for the entire preseason.
Hold on. And this is why I can say I told you so. Because when we did our prediction, I said the Bears are going to be what? between a 6-9 win team and a very dark horse to make the playoffs. And what are they now? Probably between a 6-9 win team and a very dark horse to make the playoffs. And I said also that this would be a team that could wreck your playoff dreams come the end of the year. And what have they turned into? A team that can wreck your playoff team dreams at the end of the year. This is all said that stuff that I said and you agreed with, actually. So
I agree. I'm just giving you shit. Ken, you know I love you, man. I mean, we spent 3 days together during this whole draft process. This has been an incredibly fun ride for Bear fans and Lion fans. Lion fans, I mean, don't freak out. I mean, maybe it is same old Lions. Maybe it was same old Lions, but whatever.
We do have a lot of comments going on. Did you want to hit some, or do we want to pivot? We also got some Minnesota Viking fans.
All these
in the comments. Do we want to pivot there, or
everybody? Listen. We can go to the comments if you want to say a bunch of stuff. Them ripping on the Lions, but here's the thing. I get you want to rip on the Lions, but we have a show for that. We have a show for that that's had like 3-4 people on it every week. That for every week while the Lions have been winning, nobody wants to come and talk trash. Nobody wants to come and talk trash because the Lions were winning. The only one that was talking trash were Lions fans talking about how bad the Lions are because they didn't like the way they were winning. Now we're going to have a whole bunch of Lion fans coming in tonight. I can definitely think we're going to have a bunch of, I mean, if Bear Down Mike doesn't come in tonight, I would be beside myself if he wouldn't want to come in and talk some smack.
He's talking smack in the comments, so I'm sure he's coming in tonight.
Right. He deserves it. Bear Down Mike's the greatest Bear fan alive when it comes to, I mean, every week he represents every single day coming in there, even after losses, after that loss. Like he's ready. He's ready. Now, I appreciate that. I appreciate Sarah as a Viking fan. Let's talk about these Vikings, man. Well, I got this old school picture right here. I think that you guys are going to like this. Let me find it. Oh, here you go. You'll like this, Ken. Boom. They win the old school style right there, right? A good old 3-0 win. Wow. What a atrocious game of bad offense. And the Vikings squeak it out, man. That one hurt my feelings. I was really rooting for them to lose.
That was the first game. Mike, you might know this. Russell, I think you're too young. The snowplow game from back in like the 80s, early 80s. That was the last time in the NFL that a game had been 0-0 so late in the game until Vikings Raiders. That game was hard to watch.
So do I have to address this now, Mike? Are you throwing me up on that right now? I thought we didn't talk about ref calls. I mean, we have to talk about.
Oh, that's been up there. Sorry,
that's been up there for a minute.
That's been up there when we were bitching about ref calls, and I thought the Single Dads Club that he called us out on it. That's our own mantra. We don't come on here and we don't complain about ref calls. So when he called us out on it, I put that up. Sorry, I left that up there, but yeah, absolutely.
That's not even fair. That's not fair that you can't talk about a play in the game. Like.
That's not what he's saying. We were going on. I was actually raising my voice, getting upset about it, and he called that out. And I thought it was prudent to put that on the screen as a call out, but we can move past it. I certainly don't want to dwell on that call anymore.
I don't want to dwell on it either, but I don't want to get painted in this spot. I put a very, very I drew a line right before I even started talking about that because we are not going to blame the referees on this show. But if there's a bad call, you have to talk about it, okay? Like that's what we do on here is we talk about it, right? That was the most pivotal play.
One of the pivotal points. There you go.
Of the game. Well, I mean that sequence, that was the mental meltdown. That was what I was trying to allude to when I was talking about that. Yeah, even though there was bad calls, even though there was this and that going on, you still have to keep your cool. That was the whole point of bringing that up like that. And yeah, and Hutchinson owning it. God, if he didn't jump off sides on the first down, it wouldn't have mattered, right? They would have ended up kicking a field goal and it would have been done. So, all right, we went to
Yeah, Sarah's team.
The Minnesota Vikings. Yes. There we go.
The baseball score. The hockey score.
Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings win 3-0 against the Las Vegas Raiders. It's the first 3-0 win since 2007 that a game has gone 3-0. Joshua Dobbs was terrible, as somebody in the comments was saying. 10 of 23 for 63 yards and a passer rating of 50.8. They brought in Nick Mullins because he stunk so bad. Nick Mullins wasn't a whole lot better, but he was better. He led him on the game-winning drive. He was 9 of 13 for 83 yards and an 86.4 passing rating. 66 yards from Alexander Madison. They had a total of 132 yards on the ground. Bad quarterback play. They were lucky to get out with a win because they happened to play an even worse offense in the Las Vegas Raiders. Aiden O'Connell, 21 of 32 for 171 yards and an interception, a passer rating of 66. Just an ugly game. The real story here, though, guys, the Minnesota defense holding Josh Jacobs to 34 yards. The Vegas Raiders had only 56 yards total rushing. They did give up 5 sacks, but Minnesota had 4 sacks. The real story of the game here is the Minnesota defense, 3 turnovers on the Las Vegas Raiders. And this is their first win of the season against the AFC West. They were 0-3 against that division so far this year. So kudos to Minnesota, keeping their playoff hopes alive. Bears beating the Lions helps them in that endeavor. And now we're all rooting for the Giants tonight, except our good friend A-Dub, who's in the comments. So,
and we can root for the Bears.
Minnesota. And there's another big story. You missed the story, Mike. I think the biggest story of that game for the Vikings, Justin Jefferson's out again, injured, had to be taken to the hospital for x-rays after that hit. Is he going to miss more time? I mean, he is a big part of that offense, and losing Justin Jefferson again is probably a bigger blow than only winning 3-0. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what's that?
It wasn't the hamstring, though, was it? It wasn't the hamstring. They took him to the back.
It was the back. They had, the back rib area. I didn't see the final determination. I'm sure Sarah may know what the report was on that, but he was taken from the stadium to a hospital. That doesn't happen often, right? If it's bruised ribs, you stay on the sideline. No, they took him to a Vegas area hospital. So something's up with Justin Jefferson, and it's not good for Minnesota.
That's a good call out, Ken.
Man, I am so off today. I have a confession to make right now that it's kind of embarrassing to me. Is I told you that we were broadcasting live and a whole bunch of things, and I feel actually good about this right here. I forgot to go live in all of the places that I told you that I was going live, other than the YouTube channel. And the YouTube channel actually has 28 viewers on there, and they all went there. Thank you. But we are now broadcasting live into all of those other spots right here. So we are probably going to get an influx of people. But I was looking at the viewership and just thinking that it was normal, but it was a little bit low. But we were only broadcasting live into one of the spots. Not even the Bear fans. Oh, God, I am so sorry, you guys. Wow. But here we are. Yeah. Thank you for going to the YouTube channel. Yeah. Holy crap. Yes. If you're on the YouTube channel right now, hit that like button on the video, and the subscribe would be awesome too. One way or another, hit that subscribe button. I mean, whether you think golf is ass or you think golf is great right there, hit that subscribe button, because we talk football like all the damn time. Every weekday at 11 a.m. we're here. Mike's going to be here tonight and giving you guys an opportunity. Tell them about it, Mike.
NFC North open mic, 7 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be eating crow tonight. So come on in, voice your opinion. It's called open mic for a reason, guys. You don't have to just sit here and listen to us like you do on this show. We actually bring you on the show. You're not limited to the comments. We'll send you a link. You can actually come on and give me my medicine face-to-face. NFC North open mic night tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, broadcasting live into Facebook.
Very, very nice. You're so good at that, Mike. Bear down, Mike. Hey, I'll tell you what. I give you a hard time, Ken. I know that you are living the good life. You're living your best life down there in Florida on the retired life, and you're celebrating a Chicago Bears victory over the Detroit Lions, and that makes a split. I remember Mike at the beginning of the season called a split right down the middle for the Lions this year in division games, because division games are different than other games. It doesn't matter what records are. You're really going to get the best punch. We know you guys. You guys know us, and that's the way division games are. And we got a split this year. You guys really should have swept us. I really feel like we played bad enough to give you both of the games, but you guys were only able to get one of them. Thank God we're not sitting here talking about a Bears sweep this year. At least we were able to get you.
And you
at least
Bear
once.
Fans, you Bear fans will be happy to know that we were in the Lions' den after halftime going, okay, just like last game, now we're going to come back. We're going to win this game. And you guys shut us out in the second half. So
we were hearing that in the comments. We had some Lions fans watching with us on the cast yesterday, and you're like, oh, here we come, second half. And of course, Bears fans are like, all right, did we learn from last time? Are we going to go to prevent? Are we going to keep our foot on the gas? We kept the foot on the gas this time, which is nice. It's nice to see a coaching staff learn from its mistakes, and it's all about that progression in Chicago, and it was good to see that yesterday.
Gosh, it was really, really nice for you to have a 4th and 13 and throw a bomb on them. Gosh, I mean, if you want to give it, all that mental preparation you went into and all that hard work coming down, it's like that's a tough pill for a Lion fan to swallow right there. I'll give you kudos on the victory, but we gave it to you on that 2-play sequence back to back. You give up a touchdown, you fumble the ball right immediately. And then you guys go in and get another touchdown. It was like boom, boom, boom.
But you have to give Fields some credit there on the growth, because they recognize that he was going to have the free play and then be able to capitalize on it. Which is something
and they need to get their ducks. You got to get mental right there with that. And it's like, gosh, you want them to get it right, but as a fan, you're trying to pull all your hair out. You see, I've been a Lions fan my whole life. I have no hair anymore. But we're used to this loosey feeling. Where are we getting the ball pulled out from underneath it? As a Lions fan out there, are you freaking out a little bit now? Is this time to hit that panic button with the Lions right here? I know I have that post out there. Make sure you go to the Detroit Lions villain squad. And when you see this post, we want to know what you think on this. Go into the comments and let us know.
Let us know. Fan, I can sympathize, right? And it's like the Cubs, when anytime we make, oh, here we go again. The World Series in 2016. Oh, here we go again. I don't blame you for having that feeling, Russell, because of your history over the last 30 years.
That's this.
I said this a couple weeks ago. You guys aren't in a bad place. You just got to fix a few things, and you're going to be in the playoffs. And the question is, do you get over that playoff hump? You're still the Lions, as Mike has said before, until you're not. The Lions of old, I mean. And I don't blame Lions fans for having that, oh, my God, here we go again feeling. It's deserved right now. And you guys
suffer from post-traumatic same old Lions as a Lions fan?
Yeah.
For the new viewers that are coming in from the Detroit Lions news and the ones from the villain squad, are you suffering from PTSOL now after this loss? We got 4 games left, 4 winnable games. Honestly, we got 2 winnable games.
Well, maybe 3. I don't think you have a chance on the Cowboys after last night.
This is that stigma that we're talking about right here. And we were talking about this the other day. It's like the Cowboys can give up all these points to all these teams, and no one's going to talk about, their defense failing or anything like that. And they're sitting there right there.
I hate 3 losses. The Cowboys.
Are we talking about those Cowboys that lost to Arizona? Is that the Cowboys we're talking about?
Yeah.
Man, did you see them last night against the Eagles? They dominated Philadelphia. dominated Philadelphia last night.
Okay,
I mean,
so
the way they're playing
there's a
right
game that
now,
the Lions should get a loss, right? They should lose that game for sure.
Russell.
So what if they win?
Russell, I say that because of the way you're playing right now and the way they're playing right now is this. It's not this.
Okay, then we should beat you.
You
That,
should
but that's what I'm talking about. This is the NFL. Like these. Oh wow, this one's not going to be a win. This one's gonna. What we'll probably do is lose 3 out of 4, and we'll beat the Cowboys. We'll lose to Denver and lose both games to the Vikings, and we'll beat the Cowboys. That's the NFL. That's
I think you should beat the Vikings twice because, well, let's look where the Vikings are right now. I think you should beat them twice. That's a team you should beat twice. I'm looking forward to watching you guys play Denver because Russ is hot. Sean Payton's got that team going. It's going to be a good game. And
Come on, Mr. Miyagi versus Danielson.
And Dallas has not lost in Dallas this year. That's a game right now. If I was going to give you an L, that's the L. I'd say you'd beat the Vikings twice, and it's going to be a great toss-up game, slight edge to the Lions for Denver. That's the way I would look at it. But I brought this up yesterday in the back room. Everyone remembers what happened to the 8-3 Miami Dolphins last year, 0 for December. Could the Lions be catching the curse of the Dolphins and going 0 for December? I don't think so, but it could happen.
We already won in December.
Real quick, Ken, the rest of the Lions games are all indoor. Do you think that changes your thinking at all, knowing that every one of those games is indoor for Jared Goff?
No, because the Dallas game's in Dallas where they have yet to lose a game. So, no.
Okay. So the rest of the games are indoor?
Yeah.
For the Lions. So that does bode a little bit better for our quarterback that hasn't been playing very well. He's
never played well in cold weather. You look at his stats all the way back from when he was in LA.
He's 7-6 in cold weather. That's his record in cold weather. I don't like the 6 losses. You want to see a guy playing better than that. I admit that, but he's not awful there, but he was golful yesterday. I can't give him a pass for being that golful yesterday, but I also can't give Ben Johnson the pass. And this is why it's weird to have Ken on here because it messes up my flow with how I wanted to frame these things. I wanted to give Ben Johnson some criticism and then flow into here you have this guy that's been playing on the team, kind of getting the chemistry thing down, and now they had him with lots of snaps. Jameson Williams, proven to be the fastest guy on the field, on every field that he's on. Why are they not trying to scheme him to get him 8 to 10 touches in a game when you got a playmaker like that on your team? I mean, are you saving him for the playoffs? What do you
playoffs? You didn't get a chance. The defense, look, you got to give some credit to the Bears defense that stymied your offense. I mean, this whole show you've been, blasting your Lions. Okay, fine, I get you're mad at your team. Dude, give some credit to that Bears
we're
defense.
Lions fans, and it's my show.
I know, but give some credit. Give some credit to the Bears defense.
This is not an NFC North show. This is Football Talk with Russell Wayne, and I'm a Lions fan. This is not NFC North Open Mic. Remember that you popped in on a show that isn't a Bears show.
Russell, what I'm saying is give some credit to that defense that disrupted your offense and that.
I gave it credit.
Russell, here's the thing, my friend, and I say this, okay, you're making too much of it. The Bears, you got to give some credit to the Bears defense for what they did to disrupt the Lions yesterday. I think the Lions are trying to do some of these things that you're talking about, but that Bears defense has improved, and they punched you in the mouth yesterday.
No, they're not.
Really?
Two targets for Jameson.
Well, look, because you got pressure. We got pressure on Goff.
But look at how well the Bears played on those 2 targets.
No, you got to look at the Bears have one of the best secondaries in the division. He wasn't open to get the ball to him. The Bears covered him well yesterday. They took out one of your playmakers through schemes and through rushing of the quarterback.
No, they didn't. No, they schemed Amon-Ra St. Brown, and they schemed Sam Laporta. He had open looks. They don't go to him yet. They're not scheming anything into Jameson yet. I think that's why I'm going to criticize Ben Johnson. I criticize Ben
Nothing
Johnson.
to do with it. You're right.
I didn't say it didn't have nothing to do with it. You guys played good defense. But here's the thing. Here's where, like, you not coming on a Lions show every day gets you. That when you're trying to make your identity, and you're building your identity on spending $100 million on your offensive line and building the team through the offense has to be the driving force of your team. So even if your team is playing good defense, which it is, this offense is built so it goes into San Francisco and beats that team. It goes into Dallas and beats that team. It goes into Chicago and beats that team. That's how good the offense is supposed to be, because the team is built around the offense. Your team is built around the defense. Like, you can see that they're trying to stop the run, and now their guys are playing good on the outside. You got great outside corner, Jalen Johnson. I love Brisker. I've loved that pick from day one. I mean, your guys are doing their job, but the thing is like, if you're a good football team and you're doing your job and you play your brand of football, that's why you're a good football team, because you win those games. Like, if you hit your identity, you don't turn the ball over 3 times, that's a different game. You got to play mistake-free football with the strength of your team.
For me, it comes down to the ironic thing for me is it comes down to what you, at the beginning of the year, when we were talking about you guys getting David Montgomery and how excited you were because no one's going to touch him for 5 yards because the offensive line is so good. But that's been your point of failure the last couple of games. It was your point of failure yesterday. It was your point of failure against the Packers. It almost was your point of failure against NOLA. Your offensive line the last 3, 4, I say 5 weeks has been not the strong suit that you hoped it would be at the beginning of the year. And main event, Mike, I see you shaking your head over there, but look at what's happened basically since the Chargers game. That offensive line, Jared Goff has been pressured.
Yeah, we've had a revolving door on the middle of our offensive line. I mean,
that's been your.
The reason I'm shaking my head, Ken, is because the offensive line didn't turn the ball over 8 times in the last 3 games. The offensive line is not going for it and converting 2 of 10 on 4th down in the last. Okay, no. We're averaging 5 or 6 yards. The offensive line has got some injuries, and I don't think it can be understated. Losing Frank Ragnow, a Pro Bowl center who calls the offensive alignments right there on the line of scrimmage, how big that is for our team. Huge. But I think you're overstating the deficiencies of the offensive line. They haven't been terrible. Are you crazy? They haven't been terrible. You go look at the stats, and you'll see that we're running the ball. We're out rushing.
Yeah, they average 5-6 yards a carry. I mean,
right. And they've been keeping Jared Goff relatively clean for 3 or 4 seconds. It's him holding the ball too long or not having pocket presence. Quarterback play has been trash the last 3 weeks. We were fortunate to win one of those 3. Going down the stretch, we got
2 out of 3.
I'm not worried about the offensive line, even though we do have some injuries. We've got some studs up there. Every team is hurting right now in week 14. Every team has injuries and is banged up. We're going to be competitive. We're still going to win this division. I feel like it would take an epic collapse for that to happen. I'm not worried about it.
And the thing is like, as a Lion fan, you know, we're the PTSOL creeping in. The epic collapse could happen. That's what we're used to, is the epic collapse. You know, we're used to losing all these games, but I don't think that's going to happen. I really do feel that the offense is ascending, and they got to figure the things out. They got these playmakers all over the place. Like, you can't double team anybody on our team. Like, it's like you can't focus in. You got to play one-on-one against these guys and hope for the best. Because they all make
how you rebound. I mean, I'm looking forward to watching you guys play Denver. I'm really looking forward to the showdown with you guys and Sarah, the almost back-to-back Minnesota games, right? Twice in 3 weeks to end out the season. I mean, that's going to be the Denver game should be a phenomenally fun game to watch for your football fan. I think that's going to be a back and forth. Russell's hot, they're hot. You guys are not as hot as you were to start the season. Do you start to rebound? But then those Vikings games are going to be huge because even though they won ugly yesterday and it was only 3-0, a W is a W. right? It doesn't care if you won by 1 point or 50 points. It's just a W. So they got what they needed. You got Green Bay's been hot. They're on the bye this. They got New York tonight. So, if Green Bay wins,
scary win and ugly.
This is
it's scary.
Yeah, you're going to be what? What's your lead right now in the Vikings? 2 games.
2 games. Yep. They would have to win. They'd have to win out. We would that's where it's at right now. Like the scenario of us losing has one of you guys just winning out. Somebody from the NFC North, whether it be the Bears, the Vikings, or the Packers, really have to win out. You really have to win out.
Whoever wins out wins the division is basically what you're saying there. And I didn't think we'd be seeing that at this point of the year. I thought the Lions would have this more comfortably. But, hey, it's the NFL. It's what we watch. I think this game is Denver. You guys.
No, you didn't. You thought the Lions would be having a 2-game lead, complete lead. Oh, you expected the Lions to be this far ahead right now?
I didn't expect you guys to be in a position to lose the division at this point. I figured you guys would. Remember, I picked you guys to win the division. I didn't think you guys would be in a position like, oh my God, we could still lose this division. By now, I figured it'd be like, okay, we got this.
Is that us being bad, or is that overachieving? Really, 2 6-6 teams. Who picked the Packers to be 6-6 right now? Who picked the Vikings to be 6-6 right now? So I think that's a more of a factor into the scaring of the Lions is how good the other teams are, and you guys too. You guys aren't out of this division race either. Somehow the math would work if you guys were to win out to go 9-8.
We could finish with 9 wins. That makes the dark horse for the playoffs. Probably, there's no. Look, for any Bears fans right now who have playoff dreams this year, go ahead and play the playoffs thing, Russell, because it ain't happening.
Playoffs?
Yeah, even if we get to 9 wins, I think the scenarios are so ridiculous. Like almost half the NFC has to lose out. So we're not going to make the playoffs. We're a nice little dark horse.
It's fun to be a Bear. If I can live vicariously through you, like Madden style, because that's where I'm thinking. Like the fact that you guys can just play house money here, wreck everybody's dream, and still have the number 1 overall pick, and you just can pile up some victories. You can pick 20. You don't give a shit. You're picking number 1. Who cares? What if you snuck into the
playoffs?
I got to jump off. Take care, gentlemen. God bless you all. Go Giants.
Have a good one, Mike. Yeah,
hold on a minute right there. That's main event Mike right there. He's going to be hosting the NFC North open mic tonight, and I want to invite you to it if I can ever find the damn thing on here. Damn it.
You need me to help you there.
Oh my gosh, that's because I'm on the wrong side. I'm on the wrong right there. NFC North open mic with main event Mike tonight. I'm sure this is going to be a popular episode because Lion fans want to hate on the Lions because they hate what's going on, and all the other fans want to come in and make fun of us. Either way, we invite you to come on tonight. I'm sorry I have the Pick 'em Friday thing behind me, but I've been all out of sorts today trying to make good pieces right here to put up onto the site.
When the Lions lose, you guys gotta give Russ a little break. He put so much into it. He's distraught today, so he needs an extra cup of coffee. He needs a little bit of support. I'm here to give him a little bit of support. I'm gonna give him a hard time. I'm gonna give him a little bit of support.
No, you give me a hard time. Here's the thing: is this is where I hope someday down the road, especially if the Lions do collapse, because I'm gonna be here every day. Yeah. And if anybody gives me credit for anything on there, it is hard. It is hard to come on here after a loss and come on here 5 days in a row and deliver the content and be up and make stuff like this. I'm trying to do and not make excuses, but I'm trying to be positive as well.
Look though, Russ, you're looking at a Bears team that was absolutely horrid to start the season. And so that's the thought. That's that's etched in Lions fans' brain is what that Bears team was looking like weeks 1 through 4, 1 through 5, when we lost the game to Denver. That's what Lions fans are remembering, not what the team has become to this point. And so I get that because the Bears, they freaking suck. Well, if you watch the Bears, you'll see that they're not that team they were in week 1 or 2. And I think when fans start to, get those realizations like you and I do about how teams trend up, down, and whatnot, they realize that what happened this week was not ever out of the realm of possibilities for what we saw at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. Nobody was cut. The thing is like, I called for a double-digit Lions win with mistake-free football. I'm like, as long as you don't turn the ball over and you don't beat yourself, what do? They go out, they turn the ball over 3 times and have 8 penalties that kill drives for one. Like, you can't start 1st and 20.
No.
You can overcome. Sometimes the offense is good enough to overcome that, but when you have 8 penalties, it is just hard. And this isn't just the Bears. It was the same even in the New Orleans game. It was the same in the Packers game. It was the same in the Chargers game. You can go back, and when they start seeing the trends, the Lions start seeing the fans start seeing the trends. It's like, okay, well, they have a problem. Obviously, they have to fix this problem going into the end of the season, or it's going to be more of the same.
Well, I mean,
you're going to end up 10-7.
Yeah.
And you're going to make it into the playoffs, and you're just going to be somebody's first round out.
And look, for the Bears, what was nice to see, we still had a couple penalties yesterday, but we had cut the penalties back because, that had cost us some games. The NOLA game, Bears penalties. I mean, NOLA tried to give us the game, but we kept, first and Bears. That's why I call it 1st and 20, Russell. First and Bears, because we're always behind the chain so far. I mean, and that was every series. So I agree with you because the Bears, that's been their problem all year as they've gone through this growth is penalties. And yesterday, penalties got you too. But when you look at that,
it got us.
Yeah, and when you look at it though, my question becomes this though. I mean, the Bears, like, okay, why was this happening to the Bears early in the year? Then question, why was this happening to the Lions yesterday where you're drawing these penalties? On the offensive side, the false starts specifically, I think it's because when you have good defenses getting pressure, that forces offensive linemen, it gets in their head, and then these false starts happen. So when the false starts stop happening, right, that means your line's in a good headspace. The holds are going to happen regardless. Let's face it, there's holding every play. It's whether or not the refs catch it, right? But the false starts are what's telling me about an offensive line. So when your offensive line is getting a lot of false starts, that means their confidence level is pretty low, I think. But when you start to see those erode away, their confidence level builds.
The offensive line didn't have that bad of a game yesterday for the Lions. I mean, I thought that they did protect Goff. I mean, Mike had great points on that where they did protect him. You guys got coverage sacks. He's back there. If you have the ball and you're able to read through the first 2 progressions, you're holding on to the ball too long.
He got pressured a lot more.
They're going to get to you.
He got pressured a lot more than he would like, I think, yesterday. I mean, the Bears. Look at the one.
Well, you guys got smart.
Yeah, the Bears defensive line.
Without Frank Ragnow, you guys. I noticed that your blitzes were coming right up the middle. They were crushing the middle of that pocket. Jared Goff just doesn't do good with interior pressure. Now, when they come from the outside, if the pressure comes from the outside, Jared Goff's pretty good at stepping up into the pocket and then making a throw. But when that pressure comes from the interior, it's really, really he doesn't handle it well.
So
it comes from the interior.
Looking at the game, how the season's progressed, and I can't, once again, can't wait for next season. I think Bears Lions are going to be some great games next year. I know we've started twice now to talk about the Vikings and gone back to our game.
What are we going to say about the Vikings? I mean, I'm going to go in here right here. Let's really look at this. It's a 3-0 game. I mean, what do you want us to do?
Sarah? Because Sarah was in here earlier.
She deserves to.
Yeah, I mean, look at their quarterback issues. I know
she's got in here.
I want to know from Vikings fans, are you now thinking, maybe we should re-sign Cousins for next year after you're seeing the train wreck of the quarterback carousel you have going on right now in Minnesota? Because I think if you have Cousins yesterday, that game isn't 3-0. I think if you have Cousins, there's a game or 2 you've lost that you maybe don't lose. I think not having Cousins is what's killing this Vikings team right now. I mean, he wins games, and they got to figure something out by the time they play you in 2 weeks.
I know John Dorn's back into the comments again because the Packers are winning again. He's in there doing the same old. He says he told us, and I'm going to tell you the same thing that I told Ken right here, John. I don't know who you are. You just came out of nowhere. I mean, where have you been? Where have you been?
John has two things: Fields sucks, and the Lions suck ever. And I'm like, okay, John. Oh, and I'm sorry. Third thing
only when the Packers are winning, though. If the Packers are winning, if they're losing, then he's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, he's been gone since week 2. I haven't seen John Dorn since week 2 for the most part. He does have his own theme music on our show, though. For those watching House Hall Report, Wednesday, 7:30 Central, when John Dorn comes on, he gets the Jeopardy theme song. That's for John. We're always waiting for him to actually say something relevant and smart, and it never happens. So,
So it's like I come on here and I give the Packers credit when they deserve to get credit. And I just can't respect the people that only want to come in and dish it out. And I just can't respect your takes, John. I mean, and the thing is like if A-Dub wants to come on here and he wants to say SOL, yeah, I told you that A-Dub can say that. And I gotta give I give you credit. I give you crap because you hadn't been here for a while, for whatever reason that you are. But that's the thing. I'm gonna give you some crap. If I haven't seen you in a while, you deserve some crap to come on here. I'm gonna shovel it right back on you because John Dorn hasn't even owned the Packer loss yet.
No.
That we went into Lambeau and we put a beat down on you. And until you own that loss, I already owned our loss. I came on here and had a whole Monday full of, you're the greatest, the Packers. We had a Packer gush fest on here on a Monday after the loss.
Look, I'll love it if the Packers get trashed by New York. Wouldn't that be fitting? With as great
But the thing is that they're good and Love has another great performance. He hurts the Giants' feelings and goes out there and crushes it tonight. I will come on here tomorrow and I will give Jordan Love credit. I still hate the Packers, but it's my job to call it the way that it is. And here's the thing. Like, if John was here all the time, I would say, you can say that. They're playing like SOL right now. They were playing like SOL, stealing defeat from the jaw of victory. You had the momentum in that game and then had a complete brain meltdown on a 4th and 13, and then you fumble the ball. It was a complete mental lapse for 2 minutes of that game. And then you can look back at it, remember it, and don't do it again. Don't do it again, but because that's some SOL stuff. You played good enough to be in that game to try to win that game at the end. You played well enough to be in it.
It'll be interesting to see how they do against a Giants team that's been trying to find its own identity as well. Look, Jordan Love's had a pretty decent season. I've got to give him some credit. Done better than probably a lot of us in the North thought he would do. I hate to say it. But I'll tell you what, if the Vikings figure out their quarterback situation, because they're a lot better than we thought they were too, aren't they, Russ? We didn't think they'd be defensively nearly as good as they are at the beginning of the year. This division is living up to the hype of being the black and blue division finally. The Bears have finally gotten themselves good enough to compete at the end of this year. And this division, look, as a football fan, this has got to be the best division in football to watch right now.
Okay, so Single Dads Club says that we're losing to Denver, Cowboy, and splitting with the Vikings. So we're going to finish 1-3, 10-7. That's possible. I mean, it's the way that they're playing right now, if they don't figure it out, especially on the offensive side of the ball, you got to this offense that you bought for Ben Johnson and drafted, drafting a running back at 12th overall, drafting a high speedy wide receiver 12th overall. Like, this needs to be the front and center of the team. You got to score 35, 40 points a game. That's the style that you've built. Because if you don't score 35 points a game, then you're going to be in these games that like with the Bears. They needed to score 30. They needed to win 35-28.
That's the Vikings beating you. I mean, look, with as anemic as Minnesota's offense has been, and with JJ maybe being out more, and Sarah, please don't get mad at me, because I mean your defense is good, but look, I don't see the Vikings beating the Lions once, let alone twice. It's just the Vikings are better overall as a team, I think, on both sides of the ball, and whereas the Vikings is a lot better on defense than maybe we gave them credit for at the beginning of the season. That offense right now, okay, Max Crosby's a beast. I get it. But if you had to wait till the 2-minute warning to get your first field goal of the game against the Raiders, who, by the way, moved the ball on you well, and just, every time they'd get to the red zone would give the ball up. I'm sorry. I don't think the Lions make that mistake. I don't think I don't think you pressure the Lions like the Bears do on defense. And Goff has more time. It's indoors. He does better there. I think that running game is going to be more on point against the Vikings than it was against the Bears. The Bears let's remember, the Bears are either 1 or 2 right now in the league against the run. The Vikings are not. I do not see the Lions splitting with the Vikes. I mean, that's why I said the biggest godsend for the Lions right now is you get the Vikings twice.
Well, you guys are really good at stopping the run. We knew that going into the game. And I think that the Vikings with their style, and this isn't anything against the Vikings, but the way they play defense with that blitzing scheme, if there comes a couple of those runs where they run away from a couple of their blitzes, they're going to be caught off guard. They may give up a couple big run plays.
I think Jahmyr Gibbs, who's now probably your RB1, he'll bust out a 50
single dad's club is out. Like I take mental notes and then I write things down for people because this is one of those things, because I have to be held accountable for everything that I say on here, and I have to write down certain things when people are completely one way or another. Because when you jump back in here, single dad's club, if the Lions start playing well, you can't come back in and say, "Oh, I told you, yeah, man, you should just be confident." You got to be careful with that. I mean, this is the NFL. How many times we got to go through this, right? They're going to come on ups. There's going to come on down. They go on streaks right now. The Jordan Love and the Packers are playing good. The Bears are playing good. Now you're streaking things together.
The Broncos are playing good.
How long can those things happen? The Broncos have been playing good for a while.
Yeah.
But what happens is, why are they playing good? Why are they playing good? We have to stop why they're playing good. All these defensive coordinators, one right after another, are trying to be stopped. Why they're playing good until a team does. And then when they do, all the other teams go, that they did that. Now we can do that. And then they stop them. That's why it's so important that if you're going to start your peak, the start of the peak's got to start week 16, week 17, somewhere in there, because you want your wave to start as you're going into the playoffs. You don't want to be peaking now. You want to be peaking in like 2-3 weeks. That way you got some things that are untapeable. Tape. These guys are all good. 1,800 players in the NFL. Every single one of these guys can play from the practice squad.
I think what's interesting, though, Russ, we look back to, let's say, the beginning of the year, I don't think any of us thought that Denver would be sitting where it is right now with the train wreck that they were. I look forward to your game against Denver. I don't think that's going to be telling of the entire season for you, but that's a game I think at the beginning of the year we all said, "Oh, Lions are going to win that one." And now, because of, like you said, because of the way the NFL is, this game against the Denver is going to be
huge.
It's huge, and it's going to be huge.
I mean, you're talking Sean Payton versus Dan Campbell, the Mr. Miyagi versus Danielson. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. I'm glad they set it up like that. Now it's a Saturday night game.
Yeah.
Like, lo and behold, like, whatever happens this year, Lions, and this is why I was telling Lion fans 3 weeks ago, be careful bitching about wins. Because here's the thing: is you take yourself out of a mental chest beating. Like, Bear fan, go beat your chest for a whole week. You're on a winning streak now. You're on a winning streak now. Go be happy about that, because if you win the rest of your games, you sit at 9-8. That's good, right?
Yeah.
You can't go, well, we might lose these games, Ken. What's going to happen if I don't want to think about what's going to happen. Right now, we're at 9-4. The Lions are 9-4. Win 2 more games, you're going to guarantee yourself a playoff spot, probably the division. If you get to 11 wins, you're going to win the division.
Hey, Russ, isn't that funny? That's what you and I said at the beginning of the year when we were talking about this all the way back at the we were talking about during the draft special, all 3 days we spent camped out for that. First team that gets to 11 wins this division. I mean, I think that
to 11. Yeah. Mine goes to 11.
Yep.
I had us at 10 to 12 wins at the beginning of the year. Oh, that tells me you didn't have anything.
Yeah.
When you say 10 to 12 wins, you had a window. You got to make a prediction. I had them somewhere between 5 and 13 wins. You know.
Yeah. And you know what? It's funny because there are some people.
I'm just busting you. Hey, Brent, I love you, man. I love you. I'm just teasing.
It's going to be interesting because you guys are going to have some coaching decisions possibly to make in the offseason, as far as maybe does Ben Johnson bolt to be a head coach? Do you fire your defensive coordinator for the Bears? I think Flus is safe, but maybe Getsy, maybe not so much. So I mean, we're getting to that part of the season too. Guys are auditioning for A, keeping their jobs and say in Chicago if you're Luke Getsy, B, auditioning for a head coaching gig if you're Ben Johnson. That's where we're at in this part of the year too.
These kind of comments, like, we're all the golf lovers today. So funny. Everyone runs on these shows and on these to bash him, but when golf doesn't have a perfectly plays like Ben Johnson play calling us, nobody has nothing.
Well, because it's all about Hendon Hooker, man. We're just waiting for the hooker to show up.
Hey,
Detroit's waiting on a hooker.
You know what's really funny? The thing about golf,
it's my quarterback
from last year, is like, I got pigeonholed as like a golf slappy when they were 1-6 last year. The hate was so overwhelming on golf that I was saying stuff like, Ken, I know that Goff's not the greatest quarterback in the world, but I mean, he's above average at least. I mean, even when you look at his bad numbers, right? And I got called a slappy for just saying that he was above average, which ended up turning into a bet between Mike and I. I said, I bet you he finishes in the top 13 quarterbacks in the league. He's better than average, okay? And that was the bet. And I won. Yeah. And not because he was the greatest quarterback in the world, but because he played really good down the stretch. And I knew that suckiness couldn't just last. I knew that he was a good enough quarterback to make it happen. And I still think that that's the guy that he is. I think he went on an unbelievable no interception streak. That's great because I think he's good enough to do that. But he's also bad enough to do some of the bad things that he's been doing too.
And of his 8 interceptions, 6 are from the Bears. The Bears just look at, there's quarterbacks and defenses that don't jive for whatever reason. The Bears have Goff's number, just like Brett Favre, all his interceptions went against to the Bears. Urlacher, all Urlacher's picks were against the Packers almost. That just happens in football. It's one of those weird, quirky things. There's no science to it. I can't tell you why it happens, but if you look at Goff's interceptions this year, 6 of the 8 came against the Bears. The Bears defense, for whatever reason, just has his number. It is what it is. I mean, look at it. That's like all these CBS sports writers and clickbaiters. The Bears will draft Caleb Williams. The Bears are not drafting a quarterback, just like Jared Goff is going to remain the starter in Detroit. No, it's not going to be Hendon Hooker in week 16 and 17 and into the playoffs. It's not going to be Hendon Hooker next year. It's going to be Goff. In Chicago, it's going to be Fields. In Detroit, it's going to be Goff. In Green Bay, it looks like their bet's paying off. It's going to be Love. And Minnesota, that's where y'all can figure out who their quarterback's going to be, because we don't know.
And the golf lovers today, I mean, the golf lovers were ready. I mean, and I would be totally good with them signing him to an extension, but I'd also be good with them not signing him to an extension and just riding with the progression. of their rookie quarterback, which here's the thing. You drafted a quarterback in the 3rd round that slipped to the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Now, you didn't just get this guy just to have, oh yeah, you were the best guy. You would have drafted a defensive. This is the guy they think is going to take them into the future. That's the way that Brad Holmes operates. And just don't be surprised. I mean, I like Jared Goff. I think he's going to be fine wherever he goes, but I think he's going wherever Ben Johnson goes. I mean, why not? You got Brad Holmes, make it happen.
Goff has got what, this year and next year on his contract, and that's it? What's Goff's contract situation? Is he, because like the Bears have Fields for 2 years on team control. Isn't Goff about the same 2 years on team control this year and next?
This year, next year, yeah. And
so,
which is a very affordable, friendly contract that if they do trade him, they're probably they're going to get an extra 2nd round pick just because the contract's nice.
Yeah.
Like that. So I think they'll get what they got for Stafford for Goff, unless Goff completely falls off the edge and poo-poos the rest of the year and first round out the playoff.
You guys get to the NFC Championship game. I don't see him being unseated. If you guys win a playoff game, I don't see him not being your starter next year. I mean, look, the nice thing about Hendon Hooker is this. He's a nice safety valve, probably a nice backup for you right now. But if Goff wins you a playoff game or Goff gets you deep, and look at the numbers on Goff, like you say, are good, and I agree with you, then there's no reason for them to not re-sign him, just like I think the Bears are going to extend Justin Fields in the offseason. Because right now I can get him for about.
Oh, there's a great reason to not resign him. Like here's and we're going to table this conversation because this is something that is definitely going to be like so. Yeah, as soon as the off season hits, we're going to be nailing this stuff. But I'll say this: that Brad Holmes has stayed true to everything that he has said, no matter what the outside media has said. They've had a plan, and Hendon Hooker's part of that plan. And I don't believe that they'll re-sign Goff. I think that's why they dragged their feet, because they had a plan. It has nothing to do with Goff. It's just like Jamal Williams last year, bringing in Montgomery. This is business. It's business. We got to get you on the dotted line. We need to have our guys in here. They gave him a deadline, sent Jamal Williams on his way. Next up, we had David Montgomery on there. Boom, bring him in. Like, this is not personal. It's going to be the same thing with Goff. Hey, Goff, we're going to pay you $35 a year. What do you think about that? Well, I can get $50 million. Okay, good luck.
Yeah.
Like, and where do you want to go? Okay, we're going to try to trade you that team right there. We're going to get some draft capital out of it, man. Thank you. I mean, and it isn't going to be, and you suck. I can't believe you fumbled the ball 3 times in the Green Bay game. I can't believe you threw 8 picks. Like, it ain't going to be like that. He's been good for the team. He's been a good locker room presence, and he had a very bad game. And I want to hit this too. Lion fans act like they can take the division title to the playoff. Every team starts at 0. John, I don't even know I was acting anyway. I don't know. Here's 2 things. 1, what's a division title? And 2, what's the playoffs?
Playoffs? Well, so you understand. For John, division titles mean everything since all the Packers can win. I mean, in 30-plus years of Hall of Fame quarterbacking, they got 2 Super Bowl wins. They got a ton of division titles.
Hey,
which is great.
I'm going to give him the they can shit on us. I ain't going to shit on Green Bay. Green Bay plays tonight. Getting beat by the Bears got you messed up. It did. Yeah, it's the thing. You got to recover from losses. Weren't you guys like 2-6 or something like that at some point in time? And then you rattled off 5 wins, right? What got you right? I mean, you guys are 6-6 right now as the Green Bay and even the Vikings. Here's the thing. It's like you go through a bad streak. It's like if your coaching's good and your players are mentally strong enough, then just like in a game where there's the ebb and flow, where you kind of have momentum, kind of not have it. Right now, they're on a down slide. Can they get some momentum back by by playoffs?
Playoffs?
I hope so. I don't want to be one and done. I want to win a playoff game. And I tell you what, if the Lions win one playoff game, there's a portion of the fan base, including myself, that that would be ecstatic with that. And then it's like house money at that point. Okay, I'd love to win a Super Bowl at that point, but winning a playoff game, and if it ends at that point and you're a Lion fan, I don't want to hear excuses. I mean, if this team's coming in and doing stuff they ain't done since 1962, come on, man. I'm just enjoying the ride. The Lions aren't used to winning. SOL. No, it's not the SOL. This is 1962. The last time the Lions were doing this well. This would be epic collapse. This would be a new level of collapse.
It'd be the 69 Cubs.
Crazy. This would be a crazy collapse. And I know a Lion fan is thinking about it because that's what we're used to, but it would take us being awful and everybody else being perfect in order for that to happen.
It would take the Vikings to play out of their mind for 2 games. And I mean, maybe the Vikings
or the Packers just winning out and just going, boom, getting 11 wins. Like if the Packers can, because Packers look like the best team in division right now. When you look at it, oh, come on, dude. I mean, they've been
killing it. I mean, we'll see how they do against New York. Look at
they had 2 very, very, very good games. 2-game sample size here. Let's look at the last 2 games.
If they do not destroy New York, this is a New York team that
stop. No, we don't need to destroy. If they beat New York and make this 3 games in a row, and this isn't some kind of 3-0, they're hot.
Yeah, they're hot. They're hot.
Jordan Love throws another.
My quarterback.
If Jordan Love comes out and does another 3-touchdown game with 300 yards and no interceptions, we got to start reframing this, and we've kind of already came to grips with this when we had right here a couple on last week. We got to face it. If you're in the NFC North right now, you're a Bear fan, Viking fan, or a Lion fan, you got to face it that this is a young team that was $40 million behind the cap this year. So next year they're going to run in and get all that money back from Aaron Rodgers.
Their problem right now, I think Kirk is out for a little bit. But
I'm talking about the Packers. I'm talking about.
Yeah, the Packers lost Kirk for. I don't know if he's playing tonight. I think he's out. But the thing for this, I would tell you what, this Packers team and this Bears team is making the NFL schedule makers look good, because now Week 18, Bears Packers might actually mean something. And might actually be.
I'm
really
watching this
game.
Team right here. This team right here is like
they're getting good.
I'm not talking this year. I mean, right now they're completely in house money, just like you guys are.
Yeah,
you don't have anything to lose for this. Ain't no Packer fans thought that they were going to come in and do something year 1, and here they are. And this, and you got to admit it.
Season.
Year 1, the Love Boat season 1. I mean, that looks pretty scary so far, because not just this year. The fact that they will have $40 million next year, they will have an extra first or a second round pick now because Aaron Rodgers didn't play enough. But that's scary. The Bears, you guys are young. You're going to have all these draft picks, and you do have a lot of big contracts. So you guys will be able to take your draft picks and just like pop, and you have a bunch of good rookies
and we still have 80
on
million.
that deal too.
We have $86 million to spend still. Even with some of the big contracts, we got $86 million.
Well, you got to pay the piper on a couple of them contracts, so that $86 million's gonna.
No, we got. We have $86 million in cap space for next year. Jalen Johnson.
I understand that. I understand that, but because you've signed a bunch of the guys at the high ends and you got good deals on their first couple of years, the piper's coming year 2, year 3, where you'll. That 80 million is going to go real fast down the road.
As it should.
Because Tremaine Edmonds isn't going to cost you $3 million in 2 years. He's going to cost you like $20 million because he's on the back end of that deal or whatever that number is.
Let's go back to the Packers here for a minute. I mean, look, with the way the Packers are playing right now, with the way the Vikings defense is right now, if they solve their quarterback issue in the offseason, this division is once again the black and blue division. It will get zero love from the East Coast Sports Network. It will get no love from CBS and Fox. We will be back to being the black and blue division. We were going to kick people's asses every week, kick our own asses, and then limp into the playoffs because we'll kick our asses so bad right, from beating each other up. That's always been the black and blue division. We're not a pretty division.
I love it, man. When I look at all of the teams, when you look at this, because like the Lions got a whole bunch of great guys on rookie deals right now. This is like the year before, like when last year was definitely house money, but when they had the plan, 7-year deal. Next year was the year that they were saying, okay, now we're going to go compete. They admitted at the beginning of this year that they were a little bit ahead of schedule with some of their guys. And we're good, man. I like it. I like where we're at right here, especially for next year and the year after that. Like you got a nice solid foundation. I think that the Bears, you hit on a couple of the picks. We were talking about the beginning of the year where it's like, okay, you got to see if a couple of these guys are going to be good and see if they can put another season together, and they have. That DJ Moore, wow, what a great pickup in that. You guys really fleeced the Carolina Panthers in that. I can't believe they drafted a 4'10" quarterback and expected them. And they used all of that draft capital. And you guys are going to benefit from that. You guys are going to benefit from that.
I honestly, I don't want to talk too much draft, but I honestly think, it's almost, I think we're a week or two away where the number one is a guarantee, right? Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be in a Bears uniform next year, and that's got to scare some people when you're going to be looking at a pair of wide receivers in DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison Jr. Tell me that's not going to be scary. I mean,
what's really scary for Bear fan is Marvin Harrison Jr. might stay at Ohio State because he wants to beat Michigan.
Dude, come on now. If you're going to be like, what college football player would risk being the number one? He knows he's going somewhere between 1 and 3 for sure.
I have a great answer. I have a great answer for you.
Why risk staying in college and risk injury that could cost you that?
Watch this. You ready? You ready for this?
Yeah.
His college football deals from his sponsorships is more than the rookie deal number 1 overall pick. He's going to make $20 million if he stays.
So does he lose that? Do these people no longer want to sponsor him if he's the one picking
because they have to use the Ohio State emblem along with it. He can
the
brand of Marvin Harrison Jr. is bigger than any rookie contract that the NFL can offer him. And this is the danger. The college football fan out there. If you're a college football fan, when you wanted the players to get paid, this was the danger right here of the players getting paid. But honestly, is this really a bad thing though? Let's just say that he doesn't come back. But now some of these players stay in college because of their sponsorship, but get a college education and finish their degrees before they leave.
Is good. On balance, NIL is good. And I think the argument that people are making, he can make more money with NIL than going to the NFL.
Absolutely.
It's not like Adidas or Nike, whoever assigned you in college, is going to drop you if you're a top 10 draft pick. In fact, you might get a bigger contract and you're going to pick up more sponsors. Justin Fields, when he came out of Ohio, picked up sponsorships all over the place. So the argument that these top tier guys will stay in college because the NIL money is too good.
Oh no, but he's already came out. He's considering it right now. This isn't me speculating. This is Marvin Harrison coming out posturing. He's going to be the number 1 overall pick. This isn't why would he posture if he already knows he's going to be there's no reason to. He doesn't have to get ahead of anybody else.
He's driving the money train a little.
Well, and if he drives the money train far enough, he's not coming into the NFL.
I don't think any of these top guys, him, Caleb Williams, or any of these guys who are juniors making big NIL money, if they're going to go top 10 in the draft, unless you're Jamarcus Russell.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying that's something. As a Buckeye fan, I was seeing that out there, and just the thought that he could come back, and I would good. I'd be good with that.
And you know what's great about NIL? You got guys who are going to be 5th, 6th, 7th rounders or not get drafted at all, who are on NIL money, making $9 to $10 grand a month in NIL. That's where NIL is great, because these guys are making probably more money as college football players than they'll make in the real world after they graduate. And that's great because it gets them out of college without loans, right? And it gets them set for life. It's great. These big money guys like your Marvin Harrison Jr. or Caleb Williams, it's become the theme this year with these big college players because, oh, well, I don't want to go to a team that's got the number 1 or number 2 pick because they're bad. Well, guess what, dude? If you stay till the next year, guess what? You're just going to a different bad team. So that's what I'm saying.
That's not the reason he would stay. It has nothing to do with Chicago, why he wouldn't stay.
Yeah, he wants to beat Michigan and win a national championship. I get it. But, I mean, and look, that's smart of him to say with the fan base and keep them buying his product. He's not bolting them for the NFL. It's a smart political way of saying, thing to say. But at the end of the day, he's going to come, well, with heavy heart, I must inform you that I am going to enter the draft because it's what's best for my family and my career. But I love everyone at Ohio.
You already got it down.
Everyone at USC. I mean, come on, You can see that's how they play this out. It's all political.
He already knows. He already knows that's what it's going to be. I agree with you. I mean, but we'll see.
I mean, look, it's great for good talking heads like us on these shows to say, oh, look, he doesn't want to be drafted by you, so he's going to say, I mean, it's great for clickbait, but the reality of it, he's playing politics. He's playing it the right way. No one wants your star player on your college team to say, yeah, I'm a junior, and guess what? Peace out, my homie, at this point of the year before bowl games and everything else.
But it makes more sense for him to call it out and say, hey, I ain't playing in a bowl game because I'm going into the NFL. That's what they usually do.
I think that hurts his stock, though, when he does that. Caleb Williams, I'm not going to play in a bowl game because I'm going to save myself to the NFL.
His play hurts his stock.
Yeah. Well, and his mouth. Whoever drafts me.
Well, that along with it, like if you got a big mouth and you can melt down and and just have those bad. What do you think is going to happen when you get into the NFL, brother? Get in there.
Marvin Harrison Jr. is a guy who last year, at the end of the year, when we did the draft, so we were already talking about him last year about being a top 10 pick. He's one of those rare guys in college who we talked about a year ago, who's still relevant in the conversation, hasn't fluctuated. The dude's going to be a top 3. The only reason he doesn't go number 1 is if the Bears trade out of number 1 and go to number 2, which I don't know why New England would ever do it, but that would be the only reason because he's not going to make it past Arizona at 3. So he's going to be a top 3 guy because Arizona's not moving on from Kyler Murray. He's going to be a top 3 guy. He knows that his thing is, am I going to Chicago or am I going to Arizona? That's probably his debate right now.
All right, we've had way too much draft talk on this. All I said was Marvin Harrison might stay in Ohio State, and he probably won't. It was just something that was said.
We're gonna have a fun division next year, and we're gonna have a fun division for the rest of the year. Aaron Glenn has improved the defense? What?
Myths versus facts. I don't know. The thing is, like the thing is put out there, and this is what you got to put into perspective when everybody wants to fire Aaron Glenn. And I gotta be honest with you. A lot of times I do play devil's advocate because I I go out and I read everything that's out there and kind of see where the general feel is. And I'm playing devil's advocate here because I do believe that Aaron Glenn deserves criticism, that he should have a better defense. But here's the thing, is last year they ended up being the 30th ranked defense, and that was after probably the most abysmal start. I think they were historically bad when they were 1-6 last year. And at this point in time, I mean, they're definitely not like a top 10 defense or anything like that, but they are somewhere probably between 60, 20, depending on what rankings that you look at. So this defense has moved, and this is just facts. I ain't trying to defend the Glenn or anything on here. This is just straight facts. He has improved the defense from 30th to right. He's in the teens. I would say teens. Maybe you could say 20 if you wanted to.
Let me ask you a question then. Has the Bears defense surpassed the Lions defense, would you say, in the rankings?
I think you guys are playing better defense than we are right now.
So I think that's why the consternation, that's why the calls for hell, one of the guys in the back room's even name is fire him, right? I think that's why the calls. I agree with you. He's approved.
And that's
your
fine.
defense.
I'm just playing devil's advocate
no,
right here because I'm going to defend. I do have to defend him because I think that Lion fan just in general is over emotional. They get too high on the wins and they get too low on the losses.
Well,
and
I agree with you though. He has improved your defense.
Let's go through what happened this week into this year. Like, we brought in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to be one of our top corners, and he was injured for the season.
Yep.
James Houston was the second leading sack person on our team last year, and he was injured. We're supposed to be getting both of these guys back in that situation. We just lost Aleem McNeil, our best interior defender. Probably for the rest of the season, we might get him back before the playoffs. So you don't point to these things as excuses, but they can be reasons. You have to find ways to win in the NFL, but the reasons that you lose, where you don't have your best guys out there, you can't blame it all on the defensive coordinator. He's got to work with what he has. And that's what it is out there. You've been on your third cornerback playing as the second cornerback the entire season in Jerry Jacobs. He should be your first cornerback coming off the ground or coming off the bench. That's something you just got to deal with because that's, you've won. You've won despite that.
I think with Aaron Glenn, though, I mean, going back, has he made your defense better? Demonstrably, yes, he has. I mean, because 2 years ago, you guys couldn't stop you guys were a wet paper bag.
Historically bad.
It's terrible. Now, I would say you're still. I think now you were like the second best defense in the division. Now you're probably back down to about the third. So some slippage there. Do they have the Bears defense? Has the Bears defense surpassed you? Maybe. And I
think we might have the worst defense in the division right now.
You could, but
I think they have the players. I think that they have the players to turn around the defense. The
problem becomes, and where I'm going with this though is like, let's say you fire Glenn. Okay, fire Glenn. Okay, guys, you got your wish. He's gone. Now what? I mean, who is out there that you're going to put in there?
Oh, it would be interior. You would promote from within. Kelvin Shepard. Shepard, our linebackers coach, would become our defensive coordinator.
So, Russell, what you're telling me, that's a personnel issue, maybe not as much of a DC issue. That's what I'm getting.
I think it's all the above. Honestly, I think what people like to do is to take and say, here's the reason. And it's not. It's like 15 things working simultaneously together.
You've had some personnel issues that if you did not have some of those personnel issues, the defense would probably be better than it is. I don't think that his scheme has been terrible because you're not getting blown out. You're not a terrible defense. You're still a top 20 defense. So, you're probably in the top half or close to. I think our division's built on defense. We probably have four of the best. If you look at the top 15, we probably have 4 teams in the top 15. We probably have more teams from our division in the top 15 than any other division. So is he if he goes to another division, he's a stud.
No. I mean, look at how close that game was with you, though, man. Yeah. Like, when you think about the defensive breakdown, you're talking I'm going to call the touchdown. That's a busted play by the Lions.
Yep.
A busted play in a 7-yard field, and the defense held you to 14 points.
Yeah.
I mean, like, for the entire rest of the game, you're talking a busted play where you got a guy, Aiden Hutchinson, he's probably still beating himself up over it. He came out, he was crying after the game was over because he doesn't normally make mistakes like that. You got to point right at him. You can't give him a free play. And then the other one is the offense fumbling the ball. You can't give anybody a 7-yard field.
And there was a comment earlier in the show that someone said, "Hey, you guys kept our offense off the field," and that's true. That plays into it too. Your defense is on the field an awful lot. Teams are going to wear. I don't care how good you think these guys are conditioned. If they're on the field for an overwhelming majority of the game, they're going to wear down. The defense will always wear down before the offense does, and it happens. Yep. And you guys had some of that. When you look at this is the problem, though, that's uniquely Lions, because you are such an explosive offense. and you can put your points up so fast. You guys don't do 9-minute drives. You guys do a minute 45, right at 2 minutes, and then the defense has to be back out there.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. That's it. I mean, we had like our average yards per play has went down and down and down. They're doing all this dink and dunk stuff right here, trying to using all 3 downs, going into 4th down, and they can't get 10 yards on 4 downs now.
Look, I don't think Glenn's in danger of losing his job per se.
He shouldn't be.
No, I don't think. The only coaching change you may have is you may lose, if they allow him to do it, Ben Johnson to go find a head coaching job next year, and he deserves it. He does deserve it. I mean, you can't argue that. He's going to be one of those guys that teams are going to be looking at, like Carolina, to be their head coach. I mean, that's probably your only coaching change. You guys are pretty solid there. And I hate to admit it, but after yesterday, Luke Getsy is looking like a better offensive coordinator than he did 3 weeks ago, and there might not be any changes in Chicago, which is good and bad. I mean, look at where you're at with Glenn is where I am with Getsy, right? I mean, we're kind of in similar boats here. And the problem is
not really. We're 9-4. Well, and we need better defense so we can make a playoff run.
No, I mean, Russell, I'm talking about in terms of like, what do I do with this coordinator? You guys have fans who want him gone. I have fans that want Getsy gone. All right, let's look at both our teams in this situation. Let's say you get rid of that coordinator, right? In a defense that you say might be problematic, with an offense in Chicago that you say, well, it may be problematic because both these could be squads for these two teams should be operating at a higher level of efficiency than they are. What happens when you bring in a new DC or OC that changes scheme or changes some things around? There's possibility of a setback. So I don't think that in either of these cases, these coaches are so terrible that their schemes now are that bad, because teams have grown. Each of these two teams have grown into them. That firing your guy in Detroit or firing my guy in Chicago make that much of a positive impact for either of our clubs. I really don't. I think
it's knee jerk. It's knee jerk.
I think right now Ben Johnson is the only coach between our two clubs who's in danger of having a new job next year, and that's a good danger for Ben Johnson, because that means he's going to move on to be a head coach somewhere.
Yeah, but Aaron Glenn has improved the defense. He's had to, a lot of negative things to work against. Like I'm so much more upset with my offense than I am with the defense. I mean, I'm not going to beat Aaron Glenn up for giving. I mean, you look at that touchdown run that you had, and it's like, it's a play. Yeah, you had a positive play on that. He ran right in and got it. But the defense that was put into like you're talking like you're in goal to go. If you fumble the ball in a goal to go situation.
I just love, though, how Mike was like, everyone knew that DJ Moore was going to run the ball. Even Bears fans were like, oh, my God, DJ Moore is running with the ball. No one saw DJ Moore doing that on a sweep. If it had been someone else, like Scott or, like Tyler Scott, okay. But, dude, for DJ Moore to be doing the sweep, the jet sweep, even Bears fans like, oh, my God, I can't believe they just used DJ Moore in a jet sweep. No one saw that coming. I'm sorry, Main Event Mike. You're not Chloe, okay? No one, even Bears fans, everyone watching that game except Main Event Mike was like, oh my God, DJ Moore on a jet sweep for a touchdown. I mean, look at, he did something different. The bus
had 2 weeks to prepare this. I mean, it was a masterful.
How many
first drive?
How many screenplays did the Bears run? The -3-yard screenplays that the week before. Ryan Poles like, oh my God, again. How many of those did the Bears run this week? None.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Every team that comes and plays the Lions pull out all the stops. They make sure that they have all their gadgets and trick plays because they want to beat the Lions. The Lions are a team to beat right now, and everybody wants to get that victory because everybody thinks they're overrated.
But saying all
that. But
why
didn't you? Yeah, why? That's all. I'll ask you that. Ken,
Glenn didn't do a bad job.
Why the hell didn't you throw all screen passes against the Lions like you did against the Vikings?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Why do you got to try harder against the Lions than you do against the Vikings?
Hey,
you did win both games.
Yeah, we won both games, but I mean, I think, but this goes back to your question about Aaron Glenn. It's not that Aaron Glenn did a bad job. Luke Getsy actually called a better game than he's called in the past. We get a broken play. That's a little bit of luck, but shows some growth in Fields to be able to exploit a broken play, because the Bears team in the past does not get that touchdown on that busted play, right? I mean, so
now you see why we beat ourselves. That's why I say we beat ourselves. It's not that I'm not giving your defense or offense credit, but when you can look at a direct 2-play sequence where you made the mistake, it wasn't like he didn't fumble the ball on the snap because he was just so scared that the Bears defense was so good.
I mean,
he made a mistake.
We know, okay, we know your favorite graphic of the day is that Hutchinson graphic. Go ahead and throw it back up again. Minus this graphic he's about to throw back up of Hutchinson taking blame. There it is. If we had a counter, I think it'd be on 50 for today. But minus this one penalty by Hutchinson in the third quarter, how many first downs did the Lions give the Bears on penalties? Most of the penalties, I think, were on your offensive side of the ball, were they not? The defense is playing overall pretty disciplined football. So much so that this one penalty sticks out so much to not just Hutchinson, but to the Lions fan base. That should tell you something about your defensive coordinator and your defense. They are a very disciplined group, and they've been playing well all year. So don't let this one play make you go, oh, my God, Aaron Glenn needs to be fired. He's a terrible DC. No.
There's 2 plays that I point to that really were the turning points and the biggest plays in the game, one being a fumble, and that's you making oops. And then you guys fell on it. Good job for you guys. It's kind of like the fumble that we got the previous week against the Saints. Oops. Like, thank you. We'll take it like every single time. And the other one being the touchdown pass. And it's like, you made a mistake. It was a mistake. Those 2 plays had nothing to do with Aaron Glenn.
No.
Nothing. Nothing.
I think Aaron Glenn makes you better. He's made you better. It's not, it's not his fault, the personnel that he has in the backup roles that have been called into action. He can't make those guys any better than they are. But look, you can't coach a safety to cover a wide open. I mean, there wasn't a receiver within 10 yards or a receiver, a DB within 10 yards of DJ Moore. That's not on Aaron Glenn. No. It's called safety. Run with the damn guy that's behind the defense. Look, even great defenses have busted plays. One of the most famous ones I can think of is the 06 Bears with that ridiculous defense. And the Super Bowl leave Marvin Harrison way open 40 yards down the field, and then the Colts win. Busted plays happen to phenomenal defenses all the time. The fact that one happened and that the Bears
and that's it. And look at how impactful that is.
Yeah.
You could have completely one play right there changes everything right there.
You can be the most dominant defense in the NFL and have one bad play and it's all erased. And so Glenn, to me, when I see Lions fans, like, look, he makes you better.
Think about that. Let's just say they call that a sack, right?
Right.
What happens there? You're down 13 to 10. I think that's where you were down 13 to 10 right there, or maybe you guys were up 17 to.
We were up at that point.
You were up at that point?
Yeah.
Just think about that. You're kicking the ball to us. You're not gonna go for it on 4th and 28.
But we were close enough that Santos.
Wait, 4th and 23.
Santos. It was still gonna get 3 points probably. The way Santos has been kicking.
Very long field goal I think that you guys would have punted at that point. And actually, no, you guys weren't in field goal range on that one. That was the play after that. You guys drove it down. So we would have got the ball with a chance to go down. I mean, that's what type of game it was. We were in the 4th quarter, and that's what type of game it was right there.
Yeah, every game has those.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
They don't. I'm saying they have turning points, Russ. Every game has those turning points, whether it be a call,
right. And sometimes, and if you if you're looking at the turning point, sometimes the turning point just comes from two teams playing really, really good against each other, and then there's just a turning point. This was a self-inflicted turning point. That's the point of that. I am not taking credit away from the Bears for playing good for the fourth quarter. I am taking credit away from the Lions for on those plays were preventable plays. It wasn't because Aaron Glenn was calling him, put him in the wrong spot or anything like that. It was Hutchinson making a jump and then you guys taking advantage of it. The safety didn't follow DJ Moore for some reason. Mental lapse.
This is completely off topic, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say it. Robbie Gould, I am surprised that they did not show him at least because he was at the game yesterday. I'm surprised they did not show him at least one time on the telecast. And I'd be very surprised if sometime this week he does not sign a one-day contract to retire a Bear. Because we were talking about a kicking situation. I have to say thank you to Robbie. I've been saying it all week. Great memories. And what's great is he said one of the kicks that he remembers the most in the NFL, while it was not in a Bears uniform, made Bears fans all over happy because he said one of the most memorable kicks was as a Niner beating the Packers in Green Bay in the playoffs, where, by the way, he was perfect in his career in the playoffs on extra points and field goals, which is ridiculous. And he's another one of those guys. I know kickers get no love, but he's another of those guys who you can make an argument as a kicker should get in the Hall of Fame at some point down the road. And I just have to say it because we've been in this for 2 hours, and I forgot to mention Robbie, who deserves some love after retiring from the NFL last week. So sorry, I had to do that.
There you go. They got some love. Got some love there. Some love there for Robbie Gould. And this has been NFC North Talk today because the Bears beat us. And we have to own it, guys. We're Lions fans on this show, but it is what it is. Bears come get a victory at Soldier Field, and the Lions got to go back to the drawing board. As I'm going to play some background music as I'm closing us out right here. I know. Are you coming on tonight, Ken?
I'm going to try to make it tonight. I got some things going on here at the house. And then don't forget everyone, Wednesday night, if you don't mind me plugging it, Wednesday night, Hallis Hall Report, 7:30 Central. There we go. 8:30 on the East Coast, 7:30 in the Central, the real coast. So we'll see you there Wednesday. And then, of course, Sunday pregame, 11:30, followed by the Bears game on the replay, the cast. So that's what we got going on for Bears fans. I tell all the Bears fans, show up today, give the Lions fans some love. They earned it on Trash Talk tonight. Let's see some trash.
Yeah, bring it on. Bring it on. And that's tonight with your host, Main Event Mike. And thank you, Ken, for coming on to the show and trashing my team a little bit today. We appreciate that's what it's all about because we got to have good spirits about this. NFC North Talk. It's usually just football talk with Russell Wayne each and every morning at 11 a.m. And we are going to hit this big time on Wednesday when we have the All Lions show. And we got to talk about this. Maybe we can figure out a way that we can fix this, even though, we don't coach the team or have anything to do with the team. But, we got to try to figure it out. We got to kind of rationalize this. Thank you to Detroit Lions News. Thank you. And this is our page right here, Detroit Lions Villain Squad. Give us a follow. If you're a Lions fan, give us a follow. Even if you're one of the other fans, you can give us a follow too, because we do a lot of the other three teams in the NFC North as well. But we are Lions fans, so this is, I would call us homeristic towards the Lions on this. It's hard to do, to run a show and not be biased towards your own team. We are happy affiliate marketing partners with the NFL Shop. I know Christmas is right around the corner. You can use our link in the comments and get 25% off of any of even those cool little belts too. Like that Lions belt right there. You could also get that with a Bears emblem or a Vikings emblem or a Packers emblem or any emblem. I have the link for the Lions one in the comments. Thank you very much. And I'm going to leave you the way that I love to leave you right here. And because this is faith, family, and football. Starting with faith, I put faith on the top right here because I love my church. I'm a Christian man. I want to invite you to church if you're in the Genesee County area, 9:30 a.m. I love my church. My church gave away 400 turkeys for Thanksgiving, and we're doing an angel tree. We're going to try to make some kids happy on Christmas that don't have the money to be happy. I shouldn't say money to be happy. That's the wrong word. Yeah. I should say they don't have the money to provide presents for their kids. The means. The money doesn't make you happy.
Nope.
It don't make you happy. But faith, family, and football. And that's where it comes into, you know what? The Lions lost yesterday. And if you're a Lions fan, don't be a dick. Don't be a dick this week. Don't be mean to other people because your Lions lost. It's just football. Use football. Don't let football use you. Spend some time with your kids. Bring them up in a way where you can have good competitive. Teach them how to lose. Like in this, teach them to have the right attitude in loss. This doesn't have to be the end. The Lions ain't dooming and glooming. You know what they're doing? They're busting their ass right now, lifting weights and trying to get ready for Denver. So you can doom and gloom all you want, but Lions gonna get ready, and we're gonna be their fans. That's what we are. Is we're fans. We're gonna follow this team. If you want to put blame on people, that's all good. That's all good. But we're gonna try to put you in good spirits here on Football Talk with Russell Wayne. So may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again. That's being tonight for NFC North Open Mic.
It reminds me of a football show, Football Talk with Russell Wayne, 11 a.m. in the mornings. You should watch it because it could be good for you. It could be good for you. It could be good for your life.
What's up, y'all? This is Ifeatu Melifonwu, safety for the Detroit Lions. And I just want to take some time out to give a big shout out to Russell Wayne and Main Event Mike from the Detroit Lions Villain Squad. It's a fan page and a podcast. And I just want to say I appreciate the support of me and my team. And I encourage everyone to go check out their podcast and check out their fan page. Go Lions.